Welcome back to Sam's Garage, presented by NH Oil Undercoating. Sam and Doug install a new steering column in the Alpha 1 GTO. The new modern column has electric assist to make it easier to turn the steering wheel. Doug is looking forward to this new addition as the GTO did not have power steering from the factory.
Here's the exciting part, Doug. We're going to add power steering to your car, which it did not have before.
No, it didn't have it at all before, and this is going to make it really nice with the wider tires and the way the suspension is set up onto it. Having a power steering onto it's just going to make it a lot nicer to drive.
Yep, and we got one that's got the power steering assist incorporated into a brand new steering column. It's electric, just like today's cars. It's going to give you that compact look, and it's going to give you the power steering that we need to be able to maneuver this car in the parking lot.
Yeah, it should work out just great. 3 bolts. I think we're going to be able to slide it right out. Should be super.
Let's do it. So I've got the column completely unbolted from the car itself. What Doug is doing is separating the U-joint that goes from the shaft to the rack. That thing has been connected for 40 years now. So it's going to be a little difficult, especially after it's been painted. It's got a little bit of undercoating on it, so he's fighting it a little bit. Then once the column is removed, we're going to transfer over our parts and fit the new column in. Now that we've got the old column out, it's a good idea to always check the new one with the old one, making sure the dimensions are correct. All I have to do is transfer my old parts onto the new column and then reinstall it in the car. The cool thing about this column is that it is adjustable so that you can place this motor anywhere up under the dash, keeping it away from any other components that are factory to the car. So when you're putting in the new column, you want to make sure to go in first to the splined shaft going to the rack, okay? That's going to line everything up as far as the flat spot goes where your bolt goes through. Then I went ahead and loosely installed the 2 bolts for the column up here. The motor can spin 360 degrees. So the best place I know to put it without changing the angle of the column is going to be right here towards the clutch side. And there's plenty of room for my foot to activate the clutch. So now all I got to do is tighten up the plate for the firewall with the 410s, tighten up these 2 12s, transfer over our parts, and we should be good to go.
Yeah, and it's also important when you're trying to go ahead and line up the shafts, you can run into it where it's closed because it uses a bolt to go ahead and clamp down onto. If you need to, just go ahead and get a little flathead screwdriver, kind of wedge it on into it, and what it'll do is it'll open everything up so everything will slide together. Then you can go ahead and line it all up, get your bolt and get it tight. Otherwise, a lot of times you're going to fight it.
And it doesn't hurt to use a little bit of lube as well.
Yeah.
WD-40 or PB Blast. Now the ignition switch on cars are made to be tamper proof. Japanese, what they do is they take a bolt like this, it's a regular 6mm bolt with a breakable, removable head, so that when you're using your tool and they tighten it at the factory, the portion with the hex that your socket goes on breaks off. That's why you get a little piece right there. What I like to do is, if the head is high enough, I'll take a Ziz wheel and put a notch in it like a flathead, and that way I can get it out with a flathead. In this case, the aluminum mounting bracket is actually flush with the top of the bolt, so I would have cut into that. One way you can do is take a sharp punch like that, put a hole in it, then use that hole and use a hammer and twist it, lefty-loosey, and it'll eventually will come out. Then when you go to replace it, just put in 2 new screws and hopefully no one will steal your car. All right, Doug, that wasn't bad. It went pretty easy. The only hard part we had was that U-joint, but it looks like you tackled that pretty well. Now I'm going to put the steering wheel on. I got the switches transferred over, and I know we're going to get a new steering wheel, right?
Yeah, we are going to get a new steering wheel, Sam. And yeah, the best part about this whole thing was as I had the easy part and I got to watch you do the hard part, and that made my life a whole lot easier.
Well, you know what? Doing a column in a Japanese car is always easy for me. And now I can put the horn on. And we are good to go.
It looks great, Sam. Now we'll be able to move on to the next step and start putting the engine in to make sure everything's going to fit there.
That's going to be fun.
It will be.